Hello. Recently, lots of parents have been contacting your pregnancy doctor and saying that they're interested in learning more about the ways in which medical advances could protect the future health of their babies. There's been a lot of stories in newspapers and on TV about stem cells. So today we're at Smart Cells Laboratories finding out more about this technology and the ways in which it could affect the health of your family. Today I'm going to find out more about the exciting medical technology of stem cells. I'm joined by Shamshad Ahmed, who's the Chief Executive of Smart Cells International. Thank you so much for joining me at your pregnancy doctor.
Thank you, pleasure.
What inspired you to start Smart Cells International?
Well, in my previous life, I was involved in clinical research, doing phase 1 and phase 2 clinical trials for pharmaceutical companies. And whilst I was involved in that business, I came across stem cells. And I was intrigued really as to what the potential of stem cells could be. And I then sold certain parts of my clinical research business back in 2000. And then following that, I decided to then find out more about stem cells. And I discovered there were some US companies who were offering expectant parents the opportunity to store their newborn babies' umbilical cord blood stem cells. And I thought, what a wonderful idea.
And so that's what Smart Cells is. Tell us more about it.
Well, Smart Cells is a company that was incorporated back in July 2000, and we got our first sample back in February 2001. And it was something that, I thought was quite unique. I was intrigued as to the potential use of stem cells. And so I offered it initially in the UK. I then realized that, in order to get some penetration, I need to expand a little bit. So almost by default, it became a mini global company, opened office in Dubai, in Hong Kong, in South Africa. And then, slowly, through media exposure, I suppose, and more attention in that space, people became aware of what we were offering. And, Smart Cells is where it is now. We've got our own laboratory here now, near Heathrow Airport, something we set up over 10 years ago. And I'm glad to say that, we're now collecting samples from, different countries all around the world. In fact, to date, we've collected samples from 70 countries. I mean, although we have an active presence in 10 of them, it could well be your sister in Auckland finding out about it and saying, look, can I send my baby stem cells to you? And hence the convenience of being located near the airport is very important.
I mean, it's an exciting technology and an exciting company. I had a look downstairs at your laboratory. I mean, it's an amazing setup. Now, why do you think it's important to store stem cells?
Well, it's important, particularly in the case of cord blood stem cells and cord tissue, because the cord tissue and the cord blood is discarded after birth, which is such a shame because it's such a fantastic source of stem cells. And at the very start, when I first began Smart Cells, the uses were limited, I suppose, in the sense that they're used mainly for certain hematological disorders like certain blood cancers, maybe certain genetic disorders like thalassemia or sickle cell. But you roll forward now 15, 20 years, I mean, the applications are enormous. I mean, as a company, nearly half of our transplants have been done for neurological disorders such as cerebral palsy, and recently we also did a transplant for autism. So who knows what you could use these stem cells for in the future. So for that reason alone, as a biological insurance policy, I suppose, it's well worth storing your stem cells.
So since you started the company, the change in usage has developed enormously.
Yeah, I mean, worldwide, I think the figure is something like 40,000 transplants have taken place using cord blood stem cells. So you can no longer say, hey, storing cord blood stem cells is a waste of time and no one's ever going to use them. That in itself is confirmatory of that. So yeah, I mean, I think, and I've noticed also with us as a private company, the requests have been increasing gradually over the years. If you look at how many released, say, in the first 10 years versus what we released in the last 5 or 6 years, it's much more recently. So, and I anticipate that getting more and more, as I mentioned, the neurological side already, and there could be other areas also, particularly with the use of mesenchymal stem cells from the cord tissue, which can be used for regenerative purposes.
You said that stem cells could be used for regenerative purposes. What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean by that, if you look at conditions such as arthritis, knee injuries, in the future, who knows, you could replace kidneys, livers, God forbid you have a heart attack, so you're replacing damaged cardiac cells. I mean, the uses are endless. I mean, it depends how far we want to push the boundaries. But certainly, you know, the potential use of mesenchymal stem cells from cord tissue, as well as I mentioned, hematopoietic stem cells from cord blood stem cells, will get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, in the future they could halt the aging process.
Well, exactly.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And don't forget that you can find lots more information about Smart Cells International, including their contact details, on yourpregnancy.doctor.com. Pregnancy advice, straight to your device.